Shalom, Kal Hala Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahushai, Ba'ashem Rakagadash. Double honors unto the apostles and the elders of the great millstone who have taught me this truth. And Shalom also to the Akim pushing this word in sincerity and in truth, and to the speckled bird across the four corners of the world, and to the few sisters who may be listening to you. I say Shalom. Lord willing, this will be an edifying lesson. And the first scripture that I want to get, actually, before I play the video, and the whole inspiration actually is this, this is Proverbs 6:6. It says, "Go to the ant, thou sluggard, consider her ways and be wise, which having no guide, overseer, or ruler, provideth her meat in the summer and gathereth her food in the harvest." And basically the Most High is telling you to consider the ways of the ant. And what led me to find the scripture is because I was actually working, and while I was working, I found myself being on my phone for like 10 minutes, or more than 10 minutes actually. And I found myself just basically just being on my phone, and I was like, what, I'm wasting my time, like that this time that I'm doing and being just being on my phone laying down, I could be working. And I just started looking up verses about being lazy and being a sluggard and not doing any work and stuff like that. And this was one of the scriptures that I found about the ants, to consider the ways of the ants. So I looked up a documentary about ants, and low-key, like, ants are raw as hell. It's crazy how how raw the Bible is, man. And basically the Most High is telling us to consider the ways of the ants. They're very laborious, So without further ado, let's play the highlights, because there's some highlights that I want to get, but let's play it.
This is my first glimpse into the hidden world of our ant nest. In the wild, this would be an underground chamber excavated by the ants themselves. And inside here is something vital to the colony.
Vital. It's vital.
This grey material here is fungus, in fact, which they're farming inside their nests. And they're using those leaves that they cut to help them grow this fungus.
Leafcutter ants, despite their name, don't eat leaves. They bring them into the nest as a food supply for this fungus. And it's the fungus that they eat. Our ants are farmers, and the fungus is their crop.
Man, that's so raw.
This means I can see right.
That's the first thing that like made me think too, because the scripture is saying, this video just called these ants farmers. And being a farmer, that's a very laborious job. You have to take care of the plants, you have to water them, you have to literally just take care of the land that you're actually doing. And this goes back to the scripture, because it says, "Go to the ant, thou sluggard, consider her ways and be wise, which having no guide, overseer, or ruler, provideth her meat in the summer and gathereth her food in the harvest." They're harvesting their food right there, right before your eyes. They're farming, they're harvesting. They're very laborious creatures. And it's amazing. It's amazing, like, how much you could actually learn from these little tiny creatures. Man, another part that I want to highlight on is I'm gonna skip the video to 9. I'm gonna start right here. Okay, let's go.
And under here I've got 3 different castes of worker ants. In the insect world, a caste system means that individuals differ in shape and size within a single species. So you can see the range of size from the very, very small workers to the middle-sized workers and the very large workers here. And they're different sizes for a good reason. Each of these castes of ants have a different job to do.
They have a different job to do.
I've already had a
ant does a
painful
different
encounter
job.
with one of these, a soldier. That head isn't filled with a large brain, rather a massive set of muscles to power a fearsome pair of jaws or mandibles, strong enough to cut through my skin. Going down the size scale, this smaller ant is called a media worker. These are the ants that collect and bring leaves back to the nest. Its serrated jaws are just the right shape for cutting into tough plant material. At the very bottom of the scale are the minima, the most numerous ants of all.
So there are different types of ants, right?
These tiny nestmates effectively turn the leaves into fungus and tend to the brood.
They're the ones
So the
that take
first
care of
thing
the
we learn
food.
from our colony is that the labour is divided between all its members.
You hear that?
Each caste of ant
Man, that's so raw. That goes so good with the scriptures. I'm gonna get the scripture real quick. 1 Corinthians 12. Because he said something very important. He said that there's different types of ants, right? So the first thing that we learn is that these ants, they're farmers, right? And the second thing that we just learned is that the labor is divided between all the members of the ant colony. Right? So let's get 1 Corinthians 12. And I'm going to start at 14. And it says, "For the body is not one member, but many. If the foot shall say, because I am not the hand, I am not of the body, is it therefore not of the body? And if the ear shall say, because I am not the eye, I am not of the body, is it therefore not of the body? If the whole body were an eye, where were the hearing? If the whole were hearing, where were the smelling? But now has God set the members, every one of them, in the body as it has pleased him." Man, the Most High is so raw. "And if they were all one member, where were the body? But now are they many members, yet but one body." This goes back to observing these ants and learning and considering their ways, because these ants, there's 3 different types in their caste, right? But that the work is divided equally among them. The labor is divided among them.
divided between all its members.
Let me
First
just
thing we
repeat
learn
that
from our
word.
colony is that the labour is divided between all its members.
Yup. The labor is divided between all its members. And that goes hand in hand with the scriptures, because the labor is divided between all of us. You know, Lord willing, you know, we're part of the elect, and we get chosen, but we've all been called, and now we're giving that giving our diligence to make our calling and election sure. And even though we're all different parts of the body, yet we're still one body, and the labor is divided between all of us, so we can all do something to help build the body up. You know, and it's beautiful. Let me just get one more scripture, and I'll keep playing it. This is Proverbs 13 and hold on. Hold on. Proverbs 14 and 23, it says, "In all labor there is profit, but the talk of the lips tendeth only to penury," right? So basically, there's in anything that we labor in, there's always gonna be profit, whether it be physically or mentally, you know, by you reading the scriptures, or spiritually, because ultimately this is a spiritual labor that we're doing, and the labor is divided between all the members of the body. And there's the profit is, you know, that we're making our calling, or we're giving diligence to make our calling and election sure, so that ultimately we could receive the reward, which is the profit, which is the kingdom of heaven, and returning back to the Most High, and you know, becoming perfect and receiving those new bodies, and all those beautiful things that are promised, and receiving our inheritance ultimately, and ruling the world in righteousness. You know, that those are the things that we're basically laboring for, and working towards, because these ants, wow, like I didn't expect, I never thought that I could actually learn from an ant, but here we are learning from an ant, you know. And that's, you know, there's a reason why the Most High told us to, you know, basically learn from an ant, because wow, it's just amazing. It's amazing the work that they're doing. I just want to get I want to skip to one more part of the video. Let's go to, let me see. I'm gonna start it at 25. I'm gonna start it right here.
Will give us new insights into the role of the soldiers in the colony. While we've been busy, so have the foraging ants. Well, just look at that. That's barely 3 hours, and already there's an incredibly well-established trail there.
Yeah, it's teeming with ants. We've got a really nice flow of ants going this way without leaves, and these leaf-carrying ants going back to
Hold
that
up,
big
man,
fungus
because hold
garden.
up.
Nice flow of ants.
Already there's an well, just look at that. That's barely 3 hours. And
3
already
hours,
there's an
barely 3 hours, and
incredibly
these ants
well-established
are
trail
already
there.
doing
Yeah,
the
it's
work.
teeming with ants. We've got a really nice flow of ants going this way without leaves, and these leaf-carrying ants going back to that big fungus garden over there. So it's really, really nice.
Now, it seems to be
They
that a few
jumped
of
right
these are
in.
a bit confused, and some are going the wrong way.
Yeah, I think we've got a little bit of a pinch point here. It's so busy going in this direction that I think some of these ants are getting turned around, but that'll even itself out. Collectively, the ants are carrying leaves are going in that direction, and the ants not carrying leaves are going in that direction. But there's always a few little errors.
I feel I want to help the ones who are heading the wrong way and just go, come on, just take you off and put you down there. Bit of a head start. These ants are finely tuned leaf-cutting machines. A large colony can consume the same weight of vegetation per day as a cow.
Damn, what?
And they're making short work of the plants we're giving them.
That's crazy. They could eat the same amount of leaves as a cow.
It's
That's,
fantastic
man,
to
that's
watch
crazy.
them work, because
Or at least they
if you
could
just looked at it,
devour them.
glanced at it, it would just seem to be random, but it clearly isn't.
I don't know
That's
if you can
crazy.
see up close, George, the way
They're
they're actually
working.
cutting the leaf fragments. It's
Look
really
at 'em.
interesting. It's not how you might expect them to do it. They're not using those mandibles like scissors.
The right-hand jaw is anchoring the leaf, and the other one's a bit more like a guillotine.
Yeah,
as opposed
more
to
like a blade going
yeah.
through.
This method is incredibly powerful, enabling the ant to slice through even the toughest of leaves. Here we can see that same blade-like technique being used on a very thick banana leaf.
They're anchoring themselves with their back feet, their back legs. So when they go around with this guillotine, they're describing an arc of a circle, and the bigger the ant, the bigger the arc.
Absolutely.
So you end up with a really nice mechanism to make sure that bigger ants carry bigger loads.
Over the next few days, our ants established their leaf-cutting operation on an impressive scale.
Dang.
In a marching column across the ropes, over the foraging table, and up the bridge. When they reach the top, the ants head down into the nest, making their way through the tubes towards the fungus gardens.
Look, they're building. And that's for their food. They're laboring.
There, smaller and smaller ants chop up the fragments until it's mashed into a kind of plant mulch. The tiniest ants of all then insert this mulch into the growing fungus. And there's nothing haphazard about this process. The structure we see here is carefully built by the ants.
Carefully built.
The pattern of ridges and hollows.
Pause it right there. Man. Scripture's so wrong, man. I'm gonna get the scripture right here. Proverbs 30. Start at 24. It says, Proverbs 30 and 24. There be four things which are little upon the earth, but they are exceeding wise. The ants are a people not strong, yet they prepare their meat in the summer. Man, I never thought I would say this, but ants are raw as hell. I'm never killing an ant ever again. I'm never, man. And the crazy thing is, you know, it says there be four things which are little upon the earth, but they are exceeding wise. And there's one thing that the Most High compares us to. That's in let me get that in Isaiah real quick. Isaiah 41. This is Isaiah 41 and 14. It says, Fear not, thou worm, Jacob, and ye men of Israel. I will help thee, saith the Lord, and thy Redeemer, the Holy One of Israel. So just, you know, another little thing. Our worms as well, just like a worm, we're helpless. You know, we're helpless just like a worm. And the ants, they're little, but look at how much they work. In 3 hours, they started establishing their whole operation to come back to the colony. Because basically, if you watch this whole documentary, they basically they wanted to research how ants work or whatever, and they basically got ants from a whole different other colony from Nicaragua, and then they brought them back to the UK, and then they started from scratch. But in those 3 hours, they were already working. They already had the operation down, and then in a couple of days, they were already building. You know, and like the dude was saying, these ants could devour the same amount of weight that a whole cow could literally eat. And that's crazy. That means that they're putting in that work, because these ants are so tiny. Ants are tiny as hell. But look at all the work they're doing. All the work they're doing, man. I'm inspired. I'm gonna always remember this every time that I start to get lazy. Hell no. I'm gonna start remembering ants. I'm not gonna let ants outdo me. I'm not gonna let ants outdo me, man. Because, man, even though these creatures are little, they're still working hard. And the scriptures go into all of the working hard and all of that. And the labor, like the video said, the labor is divided between all the members, you know. And that goes back to the scriptures, because even though we're different parts of the body, we're still that one body. And even though a brother might be a hand and another brother might be the foot, we're still the same body. We still have things that we could add on to the body and literally provide a different perspective with the scriptures and the lot that we've been given, you know. And I think that's very beautiful. And it's poetic as well, because the Most High literally told us to consider the ways of the ants. And there is a lot to consider. A lot of things that we could learn from an ant, you know. Let me see if I could get a couple more scriptures. If not, I'm going to just close it out. Just wanted to make a quick little video about this because I was inspired. Can't believe I got inspired by an ant. Let me see. This is First Thessalonians 4:11, because basically the whole point of this lesson too is because is the fact that I was being a little lazy, you know, and I was I noticed that I wasn't really working, or I could be doing more, and learning from these ants put in the work. In less than 3 hours, or in 3 hours, they're already establishing their whole thing, And this is First Thessalonians 4:11. It says, "And that ye study to be quiet." Salakia. "And that ye study to be quiet, and to do your own business, and to work with your own hands, as we commanded you, that ye may walk honestly toward them that are without, and that ye may have lack of nothing." And that's right. If we study to be quiet and we do our own business, we're already doing all the things that most of these people in the world are not doing. 9 out of 10 people are not doing, because a lot of people are in everybody's business. A lot of people are busybodies. A lot of people are in business that is not for them. Not only that, but a lot of people are not even working towards anything, or even working at all. And we're supposed to, work with our own hands and work out our own salvation with fear and trembling, like the scripture says as well. And working in general, because, another thing that really, changed my whole perspective as well, too, that I really thought about and considered, is that, last week I was at camp with brothers, and one brother, after the camp was done, he said that if you do not have $20 to give as tithes by the end of the week, just to give tithes, if it's in your heart to give tithes, if you don't have $20 to just give as tithes, then what the fuck are you doing? And just like the fact that he said that, I thought about that, and I'm like, damn, it's not just about working spiritually. I know, we're giving our diligence to make our calling and election sure, yes, but at the same time, we could be working as well, and there are things that I could be doing to work harder and smarter, to basically have money as well, to not be broke as fuck, so I could be a help to other brothers as well, because it's not just about me. It says, the scripture says that money is a defense. And if I could do something to ultimately help brothers help brothers when they need something, then I'm gonna do that. And that changed my perspective as well. So I'm going back to this First Thessalonians. It says that ye may have lack of nothing, and that's right. If we work with our own hands, if we're being quiet and minding our own business, working our own business, and making our own money, then we're not really gonna lack nothing, and we could walk honestly towards anybody that is lacking without, so that we could help them as well. If a brother is lacking, I want to make sure that I could help as well, and learning from these ants, man. I'm not gonna let an ant outdo me. These little ants are doing the most. They're working hard to build their colony, and what we're doing is basically building the house of David. Each and every single video, and each and every single lesson, and all the things that we go through is just and each and every single brother is a brick to the house of David. We're just adding on to the body, and it's beautiful to look at these ants, to see what they're doing, and we should want to work and put in the work, and if we keep coming to the Lord, He's gonna establish our ways. He's gonna establish our ways. Let me get this Hebrews real quick. Hebrews. Hold on. This is Hebrews 6 and 10. It says, "For God is not unrighteous to forget your work and labor of love, which ye have showed toward his name, and that ye have ministered to the saints and do minister." And that's what we're doing, you know. We're not in the new covenant right now. We're under grace. So what we're doing is teaching. We have to teach and feed the sheep and tend the sheep and basically take carefully and you know, according to our Salakia, my phone got cut off and it died. But going back to the Hebrews 6 and 10, it says, you know, "For God is not unrighteous to forget your work and labor of love, which ye have showed toward his name, and that ye have ministered to the saints and do minister." And that's right, you know, what we're doing is basically putting in the work and the labor to basically enter into the rest. You know, it's a work that we're doing, it's a labor. And he's not going to forget this labor of love that we're doing right now. Right now we're ministering to people and basically preaching the gospel and putting in the work, and we're building the house of David, and that's a very beautiful thing, and it's beautiful that we've been entrusted with this. Why the hell did they just do this? But actually, let me get Hebrews 4 and 11, and I'm gonna end it off with that. It says, Hebrews 4 and 11, "Let us labor therefore to enter into that rest, lest any man fall of the same example of unbelief." And that's right, you know. Hold on. And that's right, you know, we had to labor to enter into that rest, to we give that diligence to make our calling and election sure. And we can't fall like this, like those people that don't believe. You know, if you have faith and hope, you're gonna be full of action. You're gonna be full of hope. You're gonna be full of working towards putting, adding on to the house of David, to build the elect, to feed the sheep. And it's gonna be it's gonna be a labor, but you know, the Most High is right behind us when we do those things, so they're not in vain. You know, and learning from the ants, man, those ants be putting in the work. Even though they're tiny, even though they're little, man, they be putting in that work. They're wise. They gather their food in the summer so that they could be straight for the rest of the year. They literally do this, you know, and we learn from them, and just be still and be quiet. We could literally learn from an ant, a little tiny little creature, a labor. Even though it's tiny, it's so laborious. And man, I'm probably gonna title, that's gonna be the title of this video. Do not let are you gonna let an ant outdo you? You're gonna let an ant outdo you? The answer is no, man. The answer is hell no. I'm not gonna let an ant outdo me, and I'm gonna put in the work. We had to put in the work. Be inspired, man. Be inspired, and even though you might fall short here and there, don't let it weigh you down. Keep pushing. You gotta keep pushing, man. We've been entrusted with this word, you know. So with that, I want to say Shalom, Call Allah Yahweh Ba'Hashem Yahushai, Ba'Hashem Kagadash. Double honors unto the apostles and the elders of the great millstone. Once again, the water Yahweh Ba'Hashem Yahushai for giving me a spirit to make this lesson. Wa Abba Baba, Shalom.